Alldus podcast is brought to you by Alldus International, supplying your expert AI and digital transformation staffing needs across the US and Europe. Today, you are listening to our AI in Action series, where leading minds in AI from across the world share their story, success, and advice. AI in Action cuts through the hype and explores the true impact of artificial intelligence in our world today.
Welcome to the Alldus podcast. As part of our AI in Action series, I'm very happy to welcome Andrei Duchko. Andrei is Head of Marketing Intelligence at Trivago. Andrei, great to have you on the show today.
Thanks for the invite, Mark, and I'm very happy to be here.
Andrei, tell us a little bit about your background, your journey to now, before we delve into some of the work that you do at Trivago.
Yeah, at the moment, I'm leading marketing intelligence team at Trivago, and this is a big team of data engineers, business and data analysts, and data scientists. And what we do on daily level is support and optimization of all marketing operations across the company. And this involves multiple areas: data and reporting, analytics and performance measurement, and experimentation and bidding. I myself started with an AI in university. There I studied fundamental mathematics during my bachelor's and master's studies. Then I did a PhD in molecular spectroscopy. And after that, I worked a bit in academia and felt that I need to do some change, because in the field of theoretical physics, you don't see direct impact of your actions. So I did a move and started my industry career in Trivago as a marketing data analyst. And at that time, I actually didn't care whether it would be marketing or any other field, as long as it is data related. But now looking back, I actually understand how lucky I am to work in marketing, because it's a very interesting field, and I was able to both develop and execute marketing strategy of Trivago throughout my journey, and I gradually moved up to leading the team over the past years.
Andrei, tell me a little bit about the work that you do at Trivago. Now, for people that don't know Trivago, or they've been living under a rock, it's a global travel meta search company. But tell us a little bit more about what your work does. And obviously, the world that we're living in now, travel has been impacted greatly.
Yeah, that's true. Therefore, Trivago's mission is very important now as ever. So what we do in Trivago is we are aiming to improve travel experience by helping users to find ideal. And we are comparing live rates from over 1 million accommodation and from 250 providers worldwide, as well as we inspire travelers with local activities and events. And in order to do that, actually, Trivago relies on the data at every level. So we have a data-driven decision starting from which product feature to roll out, all levels up to very global strategic decisions. What should we focus on during the next year? And for that, we have multiple BI and data teams across the company, and we leverage data in multiple ways. But some of them are, for example, improve auction for our advertisers, search results for our users. And of course, we do that in marketing as well. So we spend money to bring users to our website for whom product would be relevant and who currently has a demand for traveling and finding their next perfect accommodation. And how we do that, like one of the examples could be bidding algorithm on search engines, where we handle hundreds of millions of keywords in the way that most of them are profitable and bring users to the website for whom the product is currently needed to find their accommodation.
For people that don't necessarily know the difference, how is marketing different from other fields of AI application? And what are some of the challenges that you have by applying AI?
That's a great question, Mark, because digital marketing is quite a new field. Not long ago, we didn't have so much data. Big tech giants like Google and Facebook completely turned around the industry by collecting lots and lots of user data and making available measurement performance on a very granular level, as well as targeting and very interesting marketing strategies. However, on the other hand, that caused different wave of data policies and regulations in different countries. One of the most famous one is GDPR, General Data Protection Regulations. So now marketing is a field where there are two forces struggling with each other. On one hand, we have lots and lots of data. On the other hand, there are emerging limitations of how we could use that. And how is marketing different? First of all, every marketing decision, every decision in the bidding algorithm we do or the measurement that we do has a direct business impact. And basically, every decision leads to either money gain or money loss. And therefore, data scientists and data analysts on the team should always understand the business impact of the decisions that they do. And moreover, they are accountable for the results of that decision. Another point I briefly mentioned already is data. So the field of marketing is a bit different because we don't own all the data, like, for example, in product. We actually import lots of the data from the publishers like Google, Bing, Facebook. And on the other hand, we use our internal data and then we join them together to understand what is the performance. So basically taking the cost from the publisher, taking the performance from our internal data and understanding and optimizing. That basically leads to lots of data quality issues. For example, we need to control the data that we import. We need to have a rigid system of how we check if the data is correct. Because as I mentioned before, any mistake in the data could lead to the mistake in the bids, so actual price that we pay, and therefore could lead to a significant money loss. And third, a very important point, that marketing is a very rapidly evolving field. So everything is changing. Google, Facebook change their bidding systems, add new features. Our product changes internally. Everything is changing, which means that our algorithms that we use and our solutions for measurement that we use should be very lean. So, for example, consist of modular structures that could be easily rewritten in case we face some changes. So the adaptation to the very, very rapidly changing environment is a key to succeed in the field. Therefore, the more sustainable solutions are basically those that can easily adopt to those changes so that we don't need to rewrite them from scratch.
You are listening to the Alldus podcast. When you're looking to scale your team, or if you are interested in showcasing your company in a future episode, reach out today. Or if you're in the market for a new role, visit our website to view open positions, www.alldus.com.
Where do you see marketing evolving to and the future of what that would look like with machine learning?
Yeah, that is very hard to answer. On one hand, my imagination can go far beyond given the amount of the data that we currently have. However, there are more and more limitations on how we can use it. So we have to embrace data privacy future. And I think with that in mind, it's very hard to anyone to answer this question. But what I think would happen is a couple of points in particular. Ads would be more targeted. More and more global demand for their digital channels also dictate the higher prices. So in the end, not many companies would actually afford to go broad with their advertisements. And that would mean that they would need to target specific user groups for whom the product is relevant. And with the help of AI and modeling, we could potentially identify those groups based on their behavior. So as you mentioned, based on demos or age or like past behavior on the website. However, those groups, which many companies would target, potentially are those groups who haven't decided which of the product from the line products that exist there would use. Those users would be targeted by every competing company. So the competition for those users will be also become more and more fierce, which would lead to another thing that the ads will need to become more persuasive. So doesn't matter whether it is video, display ads, or even text. Their goal should be to persuade you to come to your product, to your website, and not to one of your competitors. And in that field, AI could help as well. Even now, there are lots of advancement, for example, in creative testing, where people sit and watch their ads, and the machine learning algorithms actually try to identify their emotions during that. And there are lots of stages of testing such ads to make sure that once you show it to broader audience, the audience reaction would be positive emotionally. And I think the process of testing would be more and more strict. The ads will try to become more and more persuasive, basically aiming to make you buy a particular product of particular company.
I think that's really good, because if you look at it, it's so costly to get the wrong demographic or not to have an advert that is persuasive. So if you're going for a smaller niche but having more persuasive adverts, you'd expect to get a higher optimization.
Exactly. And maybe last but not least point to mention is there will be more and more modeling in marketing. As I mentioned, access to user level data will be more and more limited for the companies, for every player, which brings artificial intelligence and modeling solutions on top of the game. So the only way to understand the user behavior would be through modeling, and it could be not only related to the user, but also to the channel performance. So there will be more and more modeling involved in the industry as a consequence of that as well.
Finally, my last question, Andrei. For people entering into this market and they're coming into their career, they're maybe looking to make that next step, inspired about your journey within trivago, what general advice would you offer to them?
Yeah, first of all, I need to say don't give up. I have tried multiple companies, and when I was trying to do the switch, and I feel that this move is really complicated. And many actually blame that there are prejudices in the industry towards academia. However, I personally don't believe that this is true. You just need to understand what is industry environment compared to the academia environment. Industry is way more dynamic. It is hands-on, it is business outcome focused. And once you understand that, you could be very pragmatic in proposed solutions. If you understand business and application and try to think globally and strategically, I think finding the job in the industry wouldn't be a problem.
Andrei, thank you very much for your time today. You've been listening to the Alldus podcast, part of our AI in Action series. I've been speaking with Andrei Duchko, Head of Marketing Intelligence at trivago. Andrei, thank you again for your time.
Thanks so much, Mark.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Alldus podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any Android podcast of choice. You can also head over to our website, www.alldus.com, to listen to more podcasts, view our open roles, and stay up to date with industry news. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more great episodes coming very soon.